Hello and welcome to yet another guitar channel. I'm Anjay and today we're going to be looking at the Boss BP-1w, which is the Preamp Boost Waza pedal from Boss. So what we have in front of us here is my live gig rig. It's a fairly simple rig. I've got wireless going into a NuX Flow tuner, into the boost, into an octaver, into a blues driver, Goliath effects, Angry Charlie, little EQ pedal for solo boost, micro flanger, and the superb Nobles Dell Mini delay pedal, which I'll be reviewing soon, into an EQ pedal, and then either into my Tone X1 or a tube amp, depending on venues and things like that. So at the moment we're trialing kind of quiet stages, so we're just using modelers rather than actual amps. Layout stays the same. Things change on here. I love boost pedals. I've got quite a few. So I've got this brilliant JSA Effects Fat Preamp that I use quite a lot. I've got a Karen back there that I use as a boost. I've also got my favourite boost pedal that I don't use very much, which is this beautiful germanium Billy Gibbons boost Rangemaster from Hello Solar Effects. The reason I don't use this much is because I use wireless, and this really needs a lead going directly into it from the guitar. So I use this when I'm going to be going straight into the rig, so that'll actually sit before the tuner. I found out about the Boss Preamp Boost. I'd seen a few videos of it and I was really interested. I like the Waza pedals. I'm beginning to get into using Boss pedals a little bit more as well. So I thought I'd take a look. Essentially, it's three different boost pedals in one, which is why I say in the thumbnail, is this the only boost you'll ever need? The only boost you're ever going to need. Preamp part of it is essentially the preamp sections of the Chorus Ensemble and the Roland Space Echo that are selectable. So people used to use those effects without the effect on, but just push the preamp until it broke up essentially. So they'll push it beyond what it was meant to be doing to get some kind of grit and colour to their tone. So it's got those in that, and it's also got a natural, less coloured boost, which doesn't have kind of the grit and the circuitry behind the other two. It's all analog, all switchable through a little flicky switch. So it's flicky switch approved because the flicky switch does stuff. It also has two different versions of the buffer, which we'll come to. And it's just a really good boost pedal. I use it very near to the beginning of my flow, so I use it more as a preamp than like a solo boost, because it then pushes everything after it and colours everything a little bit without going over the top at the end of the chain. When I'm using a tube amp, it can push the tube amp to a little bit of distortion. When I'm using a modeler, actually, to be honest, modern modelers do it as well. What people don't want you to know is a modern modeler will respond pretty much the same way as any tube amp really now. This is a very, very clean amp that I'm using. Here is my, I believe this is my clean tone, yes. I'm using my Loretta, which is my Mexican Fender Telecaster, and I just thought I'd show you the boost. So I'm going to set everything to 12, and I'll show you it just as a boost straight into the clean amp, and then also how it affects kind of mainly these two pedals. So if we switch it on, I'm on the Space Echo side, and I'm using the vintage buffer. So I'm actually going to switch that to standard for now. So this is what it sounds like. So you can hear it adds volume, obviously it's a boost, but it also starts to add grit. And if I'll go a bit silly with that. I was keeping an eye on my input there because obviously this is no compression at the moment, so that's kind of pushing a little bit. But yeah, if we roll that back, it almost starts to fuzz out a little bit. So that's kind of where I have it, and that's on the, like I said, that's the Space Echo. If we go to the Chorus Ensemble, the Chorus Ensemble's slightly brighter. Space Echo, I'll switch between them. Yeah, it's slightly brighter, has a little bit less bass. So the way I tend to use those two different settings, on my single coil guitars, I have it on the Space Echo side because it's slightly warmer, a little bit more grit in there, which kind of makes the single coil sound a bit bigger. And on humbuckers, I will move it across to the Chorus Ensemble, just add a bit of brightness, take some of the bass out, and it basically balances itself out. So it helps me keep my single coil guitars and my humbucker guitars balanced a little bit when I'm playing live if I'm switching between them. So again, if I push the Chorus Ensemble side, you can see the difference in, or hear the difference in brightness there. Now the other thing this has is the natural. So if this is the Chorus, sorry, if this is the Space Echo side, you can hear the natural does less to the overall EQ and has much less gain on it. It's a much more balanced sound. It's not got any kind of real peaks and troughs to it. If we ramp the gain up, it will distort. That's partially also the pedal responding to it as well. But it's really useful if you just need, without messing with the gain knob, to be able to flick to something a little bit cleaner. So yeah, it just lets you clean it up a little bit, but still push your amp or push your pedals. Now, I said the other part of this is that it's got a vintage and a standard buffer now. Because I'm going wireless, it won't make a lot of difference. But theoretically, the standard buffer is always on and buffers the whole circuit with their usual Waza buffer. It's very clean, just nice push across the circuit. The vintage is meant to be, it's meant to be slightly warmer, I suppose is the best way to describe it. So it has some EQ changes. Now, I can't hear a difference. I imagine if I was plugged directly into it, I might do. So if you're running straight into the pedal with a lead, you might hear a bit of a difference. There are other videos out there that probably show it better than that. So the other thing that I wanted to show is how I use this actually in situ. So my clean tone with a single coil is this. Then I just use the guitar volume to clean it up a little bit. Then I use it to boost the other pedals. So if I switch this off and I switch the blues driver on, Now I put on the boost. You can hear it just adds a little bit of, I want to say depth to it, width to it, whatever you want to call it, adds a little bit of balls to it. Especially here on palm muting. And the same for the Angry Charlie. So without. So again, it just adds that extra bit of something. It's like that magic sauce, the make better button. And a lot of boosters will do this. The Range Master will do this beautifully. Like I said, I need to be directly into it. I can't have other stuff in the way of it. So for me, this covers a lot of ground. It can be used as a slight colouring, a little bit of gain, tiny bit of distortion. It can be used to push other things. It can be used just to get a slightly warmer sounds to the guitar. It can be used to balance a single coil against a humbucker. It's just a really versatile pedal that covers all kind of that preamp boost need that I have in this pedal setup. Could I do it with just an EQ pedal, which you can see is on? I've got it on as my normal kind of EQ setup. Could it be done? No, because this adds some grit to it. You probably get the EQ curve from your EQ pedal, but then it's not as simple as just doing a quick flick of the switch to change between the different EQ settings. So personally, I think it works better than just having an EQ pedal in there. It's about £130. It's not cheap, but it's also not hugely expensive. It is a Boss Waza, so it's well made, it's quiet, it's built like a tank. I love it. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on it. Have you got one? Have you tried one? Are you using other kinds of boosts? What's your favourite boost pedal? Is it the TC Spark that everyone keeps telling me about? Let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, and I will see you again soon. Cheers.